Most of us don't think twice about grabbing a loaf of bread from our local supermarket. It's routine, comforting, and feels like one of the most basic, trustworthy items on the shelf. But what if the bread you're buying isn't what it claims to be? What if behind that warm, freshly baked label lies a series of shortcuts, preservatives, and supply chain tactics that fundamentally change what you're actually eating? In recent years, investigative reports and industry whistleblowers have shed light on how some of the world's biggest supermarket chains treat bread not as a fresh, daily staple, but as a manufactured product designed for shelf stability and cost efficiency. And the deception starts at the very first claim you see on the packaging: freshly baked. It turns out that phrase doesn't always mean what you think it does. Take Tesco in the UK, for example. One of the largest grocery retailers in Europe, Tesco faced criticism for its so-called in-store bakeries. What customers believed was freshly made bread was actually pre-made dough, often frozen, shipped from industrial baking facilities miles away. The final step, baking, may occur in store, but the ingredients could have been sitting frozen for weeks or months. Other chains across Europe, such as Carrefour in France or Edeka in Germany, follow similar practices. They advertise the illusion of an artisanal experience while relying heavily on centralized manufacturing and long-haul logistics. In the United States, the situation is just as murky. Major retailers like Walmart and Kroger sell bread under various in-house brands that are mass-produced in off-site facilities. These loaves are pumped with dough conditioners, shelf life extenders, and emulsifiers to ensure consistency and longevity. The ingredient lists often contain upwards of 20 chemical additives, many of which aren't found in traditional homemade bread. One such additive is azotocarbonamide, a chemical banned in the EU and Australia, but still found in some American breads until public pressure forced its removal in select brands. Even artisan or organic loaves aren't safe. Many customers believe that by choosing a higher-priced bread from Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, they're opting into healthier, cleaner ingredients. While it's true that some of these loaves avoid the most controversial preservatives, many still rely on industrial shortcuts like pre-fermented dough, freezing techniques, and marketing gimmicks. Words like stone-baked or sourdough are often unregulated, meaning a bread can carry these labels even if it's never touched a stone oven or undergone proper sourdough fermentation. In Australia, Woolworths and Coles dominate the bread market with extensive in-house bakery sections. However, an expose in recent years revealed that much of their freshly baked bread is actually produced in centralized factories, frozen, and distributed nationwide. Local stores simply reheat or bake the final stage. Customers may smell bread baking, see trays rolling out of ovens, and assume they're getting fresh product. But in reality, they're buying something that was made weeks ago. This practice isn't just misleading, it has health implications too. Bread is traditionally a simple combination of flour, water, yeast, and salt, but the supermarket version often includes dough stabilizers, sugar, soy flour, vegetable oils, preservatives like calcium propionate, and bleaching agents. These additives are included to manipulate texture, flavor, and shelf life, not for your health. For people with sensitivities to gluten, sugar, or certain food chemicals, supermarket bread can be a hidden landmine. And let's not ignore the economic angle. Supermarkets want high-volume, low-waste, long-shelf-life products that maximize profit. Real bread doesn't fit that model. It spoils quickly, varies by batch, and requires skill and attention to make. So the system is designed to replace craftsmanship with consistency. Global chains outsource bread production to massive industrial bakeries, where automation and chemical stabilization rule the process. Your fresh baguette might have been part of a 10,000-loaf batch, frozen and shipped across continents. In developing countries, this model has already taken hold. In parts of Southeast Asia and Latin America, supermarkets are expanding aggressively and importing Western-style baking systems. Instead of investing in local bakeries or traditional methods, they're opting for centralized production and freezer trucks. Bread that used to be made by hand in neighborhoods is now a factory product, sprayed with preservatives and wrapped in plastic. Even when bread is made fresh on site, it may not be made well. Many supermarket staff aren't trained bakers. They follow strict pre-programmed instructions on automated ovens using frozen dough from the warehouse. The result? Uniform appearance, subpar flavor, and reduced nutritional value. Real fermentation, crucial for digestibility and flavor, is often skipped or rushed. The deception goes further. Supermarkets know that scent is powerful. Studies have shown that the smell of bread baking increases sales. So some stores pump artificial bread scent near the bakery section to trigger your appetite, even if nothing is actually being baked at the time. You think you're responding to freshly made goods, but in truth, you're being manipulated by marketing psychology. And then there's the labeling. Bread often hides behind euphemisms. Enriched flour sounds healthy but refers to processed white flour that's had nutrients stripped and then artificially added back. Multigrain doesn't mean whole grain. It often means white flour with a sprinkle of seeds. No added sugar might still include sweeteners like honey, molasses, or fruit juice concentrate. Gluten-free may use starches that spike blood sugar. Unless you read the fine print, you don't really know what you're eating. Consumers are catching on, slowly but surely. The rise of independent bakeries in cities like Tokyo, London, New York, and Buenos Aires is a sign that people crave authenticity. They want real bread, sourdoughs with tang, crusts with character, loaves that go stale in 2 days because they weren't pumped full of chemicals. But these small bakeries face steep competition from the supermarket giants who undercut their prices and dominate shelf space. Price is part of the trap. Supermarket bread is cheap, often as little as $1 a loaf, but that price hides the real cost: lower quality ingredients, poor labor practices, and reduced nutritional value. Real bread costs more because it's made with care, time, and quality grains. It's a question of value versus cost. What's the value of feeding your family something that's nutritionally void, even if it's cheap? In countries like Germany and Italy, where bread still holds cultural weight, traditional bakeries are more common. But even there, supermarket chains are eating into the market. Young people, pressed for time, often choose convenience over quality. It's a slow erosion of food heritage in favor of convenience-driven global supply chains. The saddest part is how normalized this has become. We don't expect bread to be good anymore. We assume it comes in plastic bags, lasts for weeks, and tastes bland. But real bread, made with just a few ingredients and allowed to ferment, tastes alive. It nourishes you, fills your kitchen with warmth, and connects you to something deeper. Supermarket bread, by comparison, is a hollow imitation. It looks the part, but the soul is missing. And let's not forget the environmental impact. Mass-produced bread relies on monoculture wheat, industrial farming, long-distance shipping, and tons of packaging. Many loaves are double-wrapped in plastic and paper to preserve freshness. Compare that to a bakery loaf, baked locally, sold in paper or cloth, and often made with regional grains. Choosing real bread is also an act of environmental responsibility. So what can you do? Start by reading labels carefully. Look for short ingredient lists, ideally just flour, water, salt, and yeast or starter. Avoid words you can't pronounce. If possible, support local bakeries or farmers markets. Try baking at home. It's easier than you think, and the results will shock you. Join community-supported baking programs or find cooperatives that sell freshly made loaves. Bread shouldn't be a mystery. It shouldn't come with a paragraph of ingredients and a shelf life longer than your milk. It shouldn't mislead you with fake scents and misleading labels. Bread should be honest, nourishing, and alive. And if your local supermarket can't deliver that, it's time to look elsewhere. Because once you taste the real thing, bread with crust, complexity, and character, you won't want to go back. You'll realize that for years, you weren't eating bread at all. You were eating a product designed to fool you. And when you know better, you can choose better. Bread is more than just food. It's culture, care, and connection. Don't let the supermarket take that away from you.